Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another of your Friday night spooky sessions with me, your host, Heather Gold. I'd like to welcome everybody back, and now it's the end of the week. So I'm very, very happy to announce that tonight I am finally, after many, many weeks of trying to sort this out, I'm going to read for you your fan fiction version of a supernatural story, which was started over a year ago. The author has given me full permission to read every single episode of her story, and it's going to take many weeks. So I will split it up to make things last longer if you want to. But I thought, as tonight is the first night, and it is going to be a slightly longer video because of this, I'm going to read the first 2 episodes of this story. Now, the author hadn't originally given me the full chronology of, or the full chronological timeline of the titles of our stories and when she'd written them. But anyway, she gave them to me. And initially I thought that the title was something to do with dealing with a demon, but it wasn't. That comes later on. The very first one is called I Made a Deal with an Angel. So with all that being said, I'd like to ask you now to sit back, relax, and please welcome your supernatural fanfic. This is her version of supernatural, and I really do hope you enjoy it. I haven't read all of it. I've read about a quarter of it, and I wouldn't have put it before you if I didn't think you weren't going to be impressed. Now, just as a caveat, the author is an adult. This is written for an adult audience. There is cuss words in this. I'm very aware that some of our audience don't mind that, but other parts of our audience do. So instead of using the F word in its entirety, you'll either find me saying freak or freaking or F and effing, which is what we would probably do in the United Kingdom. So, like I said, I won't be saying the full F word. When it comes to any other words, I'll use my best judgment. Obviously, the worse the cussing, the more I'll tone it down. So, let's just get that bit out there. I'm just going to have a little drink first because it's strange for a January night. It's quite warm. So, without further ado, this is episode 1 of I Made a Deal with a Demon, and I really do hope that you enjoy it. First off, I'm freaked. I want to break this down to you as to why I'm freaked and how freaked I am exactly, and hopefully after you read this, you'll never get yourself this thoroughly freaked, because I can't unfreak myself. When I was a teenager, I made a deal with an angel. Now, I bet you're thinking, she's pulling your leg. And you're probably wondering if this sort some kind of candid camera nonsense, selling your soul, as it turns out, is some serious shit. Before you wonder, well, why would you do something so dumb? I'll break it down where I was when all this happened. Well, it's the 1970s, and I want to say it's around 1974, and I'm 13 years old. My life right now, it's awful. I'm limping around behind my 2 friends, Jenny and Beth. They're freaking beautiful. Long hair, clear faces, sparkling eyes, and their boobs are already starting to come in. Lucky girls. Me, I'm carrying their books. Well, trying to anyway. I'm wearing orthopedic shoes, a back brace, I've got Coke bottle glasses, headgear for my teeth, a face full of acne, and greasy pigtails because my mother thinks this is somehow in fashion. That's about when I trip and drop all the books, and Jenny and Beth so nicely decide to help out their friend who's been carrying their books for them all year long. Holy crap, Sarah, you're such an idiot. Jenny chimes in as she gets her books off the ground. For reasons I'm fully aware of, I'm having trouble getting my legs working. Yesterday, I was told by my doctor, to my father's dismay and my mother's shock, that I have Lou Gehrig's disease. It started with a weakness in my feet, and now it's starting to take my legs. I'm not supposed to be carrying heavy books, but Jenny and Beth asked, so I did it because I wanted to be liked. Beth is next with the encouragement. Do you need help, Sarah? I reach my hand to take Beth's freshly offered hand before she jerks it away. Psycho. Jenny finds this hilarious. I managed to get up to my hands and knees, and by that time, the would-be friends are gone. My fist hits the ground, and through tears, I glare up at the sky. F you, what else do you want? Why don't you just let me die? Is that what you want? I won't even make it to college anyway. That's what the doctor says. I'm frustrated and shouting at almost anyone who can hear me. At this point, again, I basically can't get up. Oh, you poor thing. I hear a man's voice wheeze above me. Well, if I could take a moment to point out that this right here is where I freak myself. I take the man's hand and he helps me up. Not only does he help me up, but he collects my books and he keeps his hand on the small of my back so I don't fall. You took a mighty big spill there, young lady. Are you okay? I shake my head. No, I'm not. I stomp my foot and almost lose my footing again. My life sucks. The man just smiles warmly to me as he keeps me on my feet kindly. Oh my, that sounds terrible. Young lady, he hands me a handkerchief. I have a confession to make. I heard what you said, how you're mad. I know who you're mad at. You do? I ask, clearing up my tears and my nose. He leans in close and whispers, You're mad at God, aren't you? I look at the ground, ashamed. Pretty sure this guy's going to chastise me somehow. He's tall and he's got black hair and looks like a well-to-do older man in a suit and a tie, and he even has a nice fancy hat. He tilts the hat forward and I can see his yellow eyes against the sun as he straightens up. Well, young lady, you aren't the only one. My name's Belial, and I'm an angel. An angel? He nods. God and I had a disagreement some time ago. I'm not fond of what he does to people like you, Sarah. You know my name? I ask in shock. Sarah, I'm an angel, and I've been watching you. Looking around, I don't see anyone on the street. Belial gets down on his haunches, so he's eye to eye with me. I don't think it's fair. A smart girl like you, and you're so disadvantaged. Seems that's the way it goes though, He slowly pulls the elastic bands, holding my pigtails out. The pretty ones have nothing on top, while the ugly ones need to deal with wits alone. I look to the ground and pout. Pretty people aren't all dummies, I said, trying to think of one, but not really finding a name I could pull out at the time. Belial just laughs. Oh, Sarah, that's the way the world is. You know, here's the thing. Do you know what a soul is? Well, it's what goes to heaven when someone dies. It's more than that, little one. You see, your soul is your will, so to speak. It's your spirit, your courage, your personality, your gumption. Belial seems excited. Angels like me, we can use a soul or a promise on a soul to do amazing magic. Magic? Belial picks up a caterpillar on the ground, laying it in his hand. In an instant, the caterpillar wriggles into a chrysalis and then leaves the chrysalis a moment later as a butterfly, then flutters away. Magic, like that. Real magic. Powerful magic. I'm in awe at this point. Could you make me pretty? I grabbed hold of my head, but not take my smarts. A grin comes over him, which at the time I was too excited to see that was sinister. I can make you the most beautiful woman in the world. All while keeping your intellect, he hisses to me, but it will be at a price. I frown. I don't think I want you to let you have my soul. If I die, I won't go to heaven. Belial nods. You're right. If I have it, that is true, but... He leans over and he whispers in my ear. I can bend the rules. See, you don't have to sell your soul to me now. You can promise me your soul, and I can still make the magic happen. But since you don't want to lose your spot in heaven, we can make a deal. A deal? I ask him. Oh, yes. Here, for example, he pulls out a literal contract. You agree to sell me your soul unless you achieve something specific, like a life goal. Not something impossible, but not something easy either. You're a smart girl. Why not name a goal for me? I think hard, looking at him. I want to prove that a pretty girl can be smart. Belial hems and haws. Let's be more specific. That's too vague and too easy. You could get up on the stage and win a spelling bee to prove that. Is there anything else you think you might be able to do with your smarts? I'll even give them a little boost if you like, for free, if you think you could do something for all mankind with them. Looking down at my dull legs, I think, I want to cure Lou Gehrig's disease. How noble! Now, you know that when I do this, you'll be personally cured, but you plan to cure others. I nod excitedly. What a lovely and selfless girl you are. Here, give me the contract. Read it. Everything is laid out in nice black and white. Nothing complicated. These things don't need to be. I read the contract. The damn thing is seared into my mind. I, Sarah Baker, agree to sell my immortal soul to the angel Belial if the following circumstances are not met. Sarah Baker discovers or pioneers a viable cure for Lou Gehrig's disease. The angel Belial will gift Sarah Baker with a beautiful, healthy female Homo sapien form while keeping her person and family ties intact, provide a modest increase to intellect and the ability to be financially stable throughout all her years. If Sarah Baker fulfills the above goal, then the angel Belial will relinquish his claim on Sarah Baker's soul and allow for Sarah Baker to keep the gifts he bestows on her. Sarah Baker has until the age of 21 to achieve this goal. Sarah Baker acknowledges fully that the sale of her soul is an affront to God and is entrusting her soul to the angel Belial. Baker acknowledges that she is fully aware of the risks of this agreement and knows what happens when a soul is owned by another. In the event that the angel Belial is transubstantiated, Sarah Baker's soul will be transferred to the next highest ranking angel. I look to Belial. What does happen if you own my soul? Belial shrugs. Well, it means you would do whatever I told you to, and you'd never be able to disagree with anything I made you do. But remember, if you make that cure for this terrible and unfair disease that God made, well, you keep your soul and your good looks. What if I don't offer you my soul? He lets go of my back and I stumble back onto my hands and knees. I don't make such generous offers twice. If you don't at least promise it, then I can do nothing. This is fairly standard. I look up at the contract. That last part, I don't want to go to any other angel just because something happens to you. I don't know what transubstantiated means. I want to stay with you. You're the one I'm making this deal with. Belial looks at the contract, then looks to me. You're a very bright girl. You know what? I'll leave that bit out. It'll likely never happen anyway, but just for you. The last line on the contract vanishes. Next, Belial hands me a feathered pen, smiling. Prick your finger and sign on the dotted line. I took the quill and jabbed my finger, and I signed the contract in my blood. The next thing I knew, it vanished into mid-air, and Belial licked his finger, then pressed it against my forehead. I blacked out. Then I woke up in my room. Well, it looked like my room at first, but as I looked around, I couldn't spot my back brace or my retainer. I realised that I also couldn't spot my glasses, but that I could see even better than I could with them. I jumped out of bed and wow, I could jump. I could feel my toes. I looked down and was shocked. I actually had boobs. I rushed to the mirror and was shocked at what I saw. My once greasy brown hair was a beautiful, long auburn. I was rocking a Farrah Fawcett hairstyle after just rolling out of bed. I swear I was taller too. Before I knew what was going on, my mother called up from the kitchen. Sarah, your friend Jenny's on the phone. I ran down the stairs because I can run now. I picked up the phone. Hello? Oh, Sarah, you're home. I'm so sorry Beth and I ditched you. I don't know what came over us. We were going to go to the movies later. We wanted to make sure if you still wanted to come. I nearly cried. I was so happy. I rushed up the stairs, got dressed in trendy clothing I never owned before, and rushed down the stairs. Mom, I'm going to the movies with Jenny and Beth. My father called out. Don't be too late, Angel. I grinned as I headed down the street to meet up with my friends. I'm no angel. I just made a deal with one. So, this is the end of episode 1. What do you think of it so far? Excuse me, I must have a drink. Feels better. Well, reading that took approximately 15 minutes. So if all the stories are that length, I can either read 2 a week for you, or I could read 1 and another ghost story. But I really will need you to tell me, because, you know, I'm guided by you. So, that's the end of episode 1. I'm now going to go in with episode 2 of I Made a Deal with an Angel. And I hope you enjoyed this episode as well, because I thought the first one was quite good for an opener. Anyway, where did I leave off? Right, I was 13 and I just went from an ugly duckling to a swan. I was also smart. I mean, freaking brilliant. I wasn't a moron by any regard before, but after Belial's deal, I went into overdrive. Everything in my life was on easy street. I skipped 2 grades, and even then I was told to send out college applications at age 16. 16! I was hyped up and having the time of my life. The male population of my school was also having the time of their lives. I was 16, but I had the body of an 18-year-old and the sex drive of a 30-year-old divorcee. I wasn't stupid though. I used condoms like crazy. I think I spent more money on those than anything else, to be honest. Granted, the sexual revolution had already happened, but I think I was pushing for the sequel in the late 70s. What can I say? I was hot, I was smart, I knew how to sweet talk guys. The thing was, though, that every single guy wanted me to be their girlfriend to show off. I wasn't having that. These guys were around for me, not the other way around. Some folks called me a slut, and I didn't care. I told them I was just a female stud. Sex was something I enjoyed doing, not much else. Kind of like a hobby or watching TV. But I was actually focused on my studies regardless. Heck, half the time I didn't even spend the night at my sexual conquest houses because I had homework to complete. I later graduated valedictorian of my class, thanks to all my hard work. Jenny, Beth and I had a huge party, and the 2 little bitches got me a cake that read, valedictorian. I didn't even know that they made penis-shaped cakes. At least things were going well enough until I had a kind of a rough night. See, I had a curfew from my father. He was very convinced that I was his little angel. And while I could have given him a lecture about female empowerment and the like, I never really got round to it. One night I was having the ride of my life and I lost track of time. Before I knew it, I was 30 minutes late for my curfew. I rushed home as fast as I could, and my boy toy drove me home as quickly as possible because I told him my father would kill him. And when I did get home, I got a scolding from my mother. She said my father was out looking for me for the past hour. She had me wait up for him for another hour or so, both of us waiting in our dining room. When your father gets home, you're going to get it, young lady. You may be a bright girl with good grades, but we won't be seeing you throw that away for some boy, she shouted at me. Boys, I said under my breath. Excuse me, young lady? Snickering, I shook my head. Nothing, Mum. That's when a knock came to the door. My mother glanced at me. Well, go and make yourself useful and answer the door. I sigh and I get to my feet. Opening the door, I see a cop. Can I help you, officer? Is this the Baker residence? He asks. Yes, I answer. My mother made it to the door after she heard me say officer. Mrs. Baker? The cop asks. My mother nods and says, yes. What's going on? I'm sorry, ma'am. Your husband was in a terrible accident. He was pronounced dead at the scene. To say I blame myself was a major understatement. Somehow my father wrapped his car around a tree, all the while looking for me. Despite all of this, Mum was super supportive, and she never ever let me blame myself. She said it could have been him driving anyway, and that there was no reason for him to try scouring the neighbourhood that late at night. I was really down in the dumps, and I decided I was going to stop with the sex and be a respectable young lady in memory of my father. Well, that worked out for about a week. I don't know why, but I just couldn't handle it. I'd see a cute boy, and despite myself, I just had to have him. I know this sounds insensitive and all, but I legitimately was using it to cope. And that's the only way I knew how to feel good. When I was having sex, I wasn't thinking about my father or how he might have died entirely because of me. I was just enjoying it. It's probably around this time when I was a full-blown addict. I just wasn't ready to admit it. It was a little over a year later when I was doing my freshman year in college. Harvard, by the way. As beautiful kid genius in the biochemistry program, I was still focused on my goal. Mostly, memory of my deal was kind of fuzzy, and the more I look back at it, the crazier it sounded. Around campus I was called jailbait, as I was still 17. Before you nuns get all effing crazy on me, the age of consent in Maryland is 14, as long as the person I'm doing it with isn't more than 4 years older. That meant that college boys were now on the menu. Anyway, that's when 17-year-old me found a 19-year-old Dave Miller. Now, I've never been one girl, one when I met Dave, but he was a lawyer, he had a very rich daddy, and he was an overall nice guy. Well, eventually, I now decided to do the whole boyfriend thing. Poor guy didn't realise I was under 18. Can't blame him, and I didn't want to look like a teenager at this point. Whether Belial tossed something extra into the contract or not, I wasn't sure, but my boobs had got a lot bigger. And, Dave was just well into my charms, let's put it that way. And one night we had sex, and he convinced me to do it without a condom. And I did pay for it. And even though now I'm a biochemistry major, and he'd said to me, let's ditch the condom tonight. There was just no way. I was ovulating for the next few weeks. And I even made sure to get him to withdraw before everything did go wrong. So either Dave was the most resilient one in the world, or I ended up ovulating because the next thing you know, I'm pregnant. You said it was a safe day, Dave was shouting at me. Well, it was as far as I knew. You've got to have the virility of Genghis Khan or something. My father's going to kill me, he was fretting. Listen, I'll pay you to get rid of it. How's that? I'm going to blink 3 times and imagine that didn't slip out of your mouth. Roe versus Wade might be a thing, but I'm still an upstanding Catholic girl. Dave laughed in my face. I found out from my buddies that you've done half your damn chem class. Lies and slander, I shouted, unless you're counting the girls, because then maybe it is half. But I think the only one who didn't do it with me was the professor. And I'd like to point out that you're no virgin either. Dave kept pacing up and down. My father's going to kill me. Dave just stopped and stared at me. And I can tell you right then and there, the boy loved me. He said, you can't go to school while you're pregnant. I can for some of it. There's no way you'll be able to participate and make all the doctor's visits. Take a semester off. Well, that was the worst part about the pregnancy to me, having to take a semester off university. I hated that. I'm 18 by the time I have the child, and of course Dave's dad doesn't want an illegitimate child, so we got married. I kept my name though because I'm a strong, independent woman or something. Back then that mattered. Now it doesn't for me. Jason was born and he was a beautiful baby. Want to know what else was still beautiful? Me. I recovered from that child in 24 hours, to the shock of every doctor and the envy of every other mother in the maternity ward. Probably should still have been tipped off by the fact I was still dressing to show up 9 months but I didn't even have stretch marks. I had folks cursing my genetics, and I loved every minute of it. After that, it was right back to school and hitting the books hard. Now, for folks wondering how I was handling being a teenage mother, I'd like to point out that when daddy's the heir to a fortune, it makes being a teenage mother super easy. Again, I wasn't sweating it, I merely skipped a step in the game of life thing. At this point in my life, between school, my child, husband, and trying to make sure I never fell behind in my extracurricular activities, I pretty much else forgot about the deal I made. To me, it was some weird fantasy I had when I was a kid. I couldn't have had ALS as a kid. That would have been impossible. I was rocking high heels even when I was pregnant. So there's no way I had a progressive neurodegenerative disease. I had to have been misdiagnosed. My parents didn't even remember the doctor's visit. It wasn't till age 21 that I had my rude awakening. Since my party girl status was pretty much dead, what with me being married and a mother, I had to keep my escapades during college on the droll side. I mean, I guess I got all my wild high sex out in high school and my freshman year, but I'll be honest, Dave was having real trouble just wanting to be with me. I wasn't going to divorce him, but, we were having problems. Jenny had a private birthday set for me at her place. Just the two of us chilling out on the eve of my birthday and drinking the night away. The nanny had the child, so why not cut loose? Jenny had bought some vodka, whiskey, brandy, an assortment of drink mixes. So we started drinking, and we started laughing hysterically, and we started saying happy birthday to me, and then all of a sudden I hear this voice, happy birthday to you. A chill runs down my spine because I know that voice. Happy birthday to you. I turn round, and materialising out of nowhere is a man. He's tall, he has wings, and he's wearing a similar business suit as he did before, all white. His eyes are black, with little swirls of yellow where his irises should be. Black hair, a black goatee, and he's just floating, disembodied, in the air. I think I can see through him. Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you. No, I whisper. This has got to be terrible, alcohol-fueled hallucination. Yes, Belial hisses. He looks to a non-existent watch on his wrist. That's a fair question, Sarah. How's the research coming along? I kid you not, I was actually really close to cracking a neuroprotective compound that could have acted as a free radical scavenger which might have reduced oxide stresses on neurotransmitters. Point was, I'd barely gotten a formal paper together, just a question of hypothesis. I squeaked out to him, I need more time. His hands clasped together happily. Oh, Sarah, of course. If you need more time, that's completely possible for you. However, the old deal, I'm afraid, can't be modified. So, how about a second one? I'm panicking. Okay, yeah, sure, what do you want? The soul of your son. Contract appears in my hands, and I stare blankly at it. You have 30 seconds. My rational brain calculated the pros and cons of the entire situation, thinking that maybe I could get my paper all situated in 5 years, because my research was solid and it really could have paid off if I managed to get a few of the professors to help out with it. Again, I just never had the paper fully written. The compound needed testing, validation, maybe a grant or two. Well, that being said, that there's something weird that happens to you when you're a mother. When someone puts your child at risk, you stop thinking. I tore the contract in half before I even finished considering how long it would take me to finish the first draft. Belial smiled at me. Oh, what a caring mother. Time's up. Glaring at him, I crossed my arms defiantly over my chest. Okay, fine, so what? I'm yours now? Belial floats over Jenny, and I roll my eyes as he does. You know, I don't know what you're doing. I was just having a drink. A few more drinks, Belial grins. That's an awfully full bottle of vodka. I noticed the bottle of vodka that Jenny and I were doing shots out of. Yeah, she bought it today, along with all the other stuff for the mixed drinks. Birthday celebrations, Drink that entire bottle of vodka right away, he commands me. Are you crazy? I say as I grab the bottle and remove the top. You can't expect me to drink all of that. Before I realise what's happening, I've got the bottle to my lips, tilted all the way back, and I'm downing a little of a litre of vodka. My eyes go wide as I watch the liquid drain from the bottle, as my throat just opens up on its own accord. I'm gulping down the vodka like a dehydrated man gulps water. When it's empty, I drop the bottle, feeling dizzy and gasping. Oh God, I'm gonna... Don't vomit. Try as I might, with my stomach and throat burning, I can't. Oh my, is that whiskey? I'm finding the room spinning, and I can actually feel my brain slowing down, thanks to the spike in my blood alcohol content. Wait. Drink that entire whiskey bottle, right now. I'm stumbling my way towards it. My stomach is doing backflips. I can feel the urge to vomit surge through me, but nothing happens. It's full. It's a full bottle, and I'm drunk too much. I'm having trouble breathing, but I still see the bottle of whiskey rising up my vision, and I drink it down the same as before, gasping as I feel it burning my throat, and my stomach feels like it's going to burst. The bottle drops, and I hit my knees, my vision's blurring. Why make me do this? Belial smiles. Your body is worthless, Sarah. I need your soul. Good night. The room spins round. I reach out to Jenny, trying to breathe, but I find myself gasping for breath. The last thing I remember is the floor rushing up to meet me as my vision tunnels and everything else goes black. I see a white tunnel and at the end a bright yellow light. This will sound crazy, but bear with me. The light looks sad, like it's disappointed or something. I'm then stuck in the tunnel, and in an instant I'm being ripped backward. Before I know what's going on, I'm back at Jenny's place, landing on my ass on the floor. I grunt with the impact and I look around, seeing Belial now as a solid being. He's still in his white business ensemble, but now I see his legs clearly. He's wearing what looks like a very expensive tailored slacks and dress shoes with silver metal tips on the toes and heels. His black wings are closed behind him, and it almost looks like the yellow in his eyes is rising out the sockets like steam. His hair moves like it's underwater for some reason. What the hell was that? I shout. What a cute choice of words, Belial taunts. I get to my feet, march right up to him, and jab my finger in his chest. What is the big idea making me drink that much? I could have died. Belial isn't concerned with my finger prodding. He just smiles. Could have? He looks over my shoulder. I turn around looking at what Belial was glancing at. There on the floor is my body, whiskey bottle in hand, passed out right on top of Jenny. While I can see the steady rise and fall of Jenny's chest, I notice my body isn't moving. It's right then and there I realised that I'm dead and I'm looking at my own corpse. And that is the end of episode 2. Episode 3 will be with you next Friday. Excuse me. So everybody, what did you make of them? Did you like them? How do you think I read them? What did you think of Sarah and Belial? Do you think you would ever have been tempted to make a deal with an angel? Not even asking really what it would entail if you didn't understand. There's one thing I will say for a character. At least she didn't sacrifice the soul of her son. I can give her that. Pardon me, excuse me, as a commendation, pardon me. But, sorry, I think I've got hiccups now. I think it's great to sell your soul to the devil in a fantasy world, but not a great idea to do it in the real world, I don't think. I don't even know if you can do it in the real world. That's something I'd need to think about. Do you think you can actually, sell your soul to the devil in, the 21st century? Or is it just sort of like a state of being, do you think? Sort of like being like baptized as a Christian, that sort of thing. I just wonder, because if you can give yourself over to God and commit yourself to God as a Christian, or, if you commit yourself to Allah as a Muslim, or as we do to the Torah as Jews, I wonder if you can do a similar sort of thing to the devil or an angel. I've never ever wondered about that. It's amazing I've got to the age I have and I've never even thought about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, guys. And I have thoroughly enjoyed reading it to you. I have tried to clean things up. Saw a couple of bits of language that leapt out at me that I'd missed. So I had to quickly engage brain. But like I said, it was written for an adult audience. So anyway, I'm going to thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you very much for listening to the first 2 episodes of your new fanfic. Please, please let me know what you think of it. And, we'll have to see what happens next week, because it's been a while since I've read it and I don't remember. But I'm sure it's going to be exciting. Of course, it's got to be from here on in, because this is where it starts to get interesting. Now he's got a soul. What's he going to do with her? And what is he going to get her to do? That's the thing. So, I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. I want to thank you very, very much for watching. All being well, I will see you on Monday. I've been asked to talk about the royal family again. I can have a chat with you about that if you want, and what's been happening up to recent days, and what we think may happen next, if anything, and do we care? But yes, I've been asked by some of our American Haveners to talk about the royal family and a bit of royal history. So as much as I can do, all being well, I can do that for you. Fingers crossed you'll definitely get your folk tales next week. And then, of course, in a week's time, I'll get my words out yet, won't I? in a week's time, I will be back with your spooky sessions. So please remember to let me know. Do you want an episode a week and then a ghost story, or do you just want me to continue to read from the episodes of the fanfic? Please let me know, because it's really important. Don't forget your Facebook group, guys. The link to it is on Monday's video. So please go along and join. Perfectly safe, perfectly private. Absolutely fine in there. Everybody has fun. Right. I'm going to bid you good night, because it's, coming up for well past my bedtime. I love you all. Thank you again for being here. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye for now, guys. Bye-bye. And good night.